And welcome back to the channel if you already are a part of the community, and if you aren't, then make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a new weekly video. My name is Sophia, and on this channel we talk all about manifestation, spirituality, self-development, and all the good things that help you become the happiest, most fulfilled, and aligned version of yourself. And I can't wait to get into today's video because it's one of my favorite topics. We're going to talk all about shaving your head and the power of cutting all your hair off. I'm going to go into my journey, my fears, my wishes for what it might change in my life, how my view on femininity and confidence changed, and all the other good things and so much more. So I'm so excited. Let's start. Okay, so let's talk about making the decision to shave your head. I remember the first time I saw someone with a buzz cut. I was 16. I saw Halsey with her shaved head, and I loved it so much. At the time, I didn't really think about getting one myself, or at least that's what I think I tried to suppress it because at the time I was really shy. I was really insecure. I was still in high school. I didn't really want to be the center of attention. I didn't really want to be the girl who shaved her head. I just didn't want to, get people staring, get people talking about me. So at the time when I was 16, I didn't really think about shaving my head. I loved it. I admired it really much, but it was something that was like, oh, I love it so much. I wish I could do that. And yeah, I did, but it took some time. I remember that was the first time I thought about it, and I was 21 when I decided to shave my head. So like I said, quite some time. So whether you've been thinking about this a long time or a short time, it doesn't matter. You don't need to think years about it. I hope you don't, because I think it's a great decision. But either way, let's decide if it's for you. I remember, like I said, at the time, I didn't want to do it. Really shy, insecure. I was like, not gonna do it. No. What if I don't like myself? I remember I cut my hair when I was 17 around this length, chin length, and I was already spiraling. I was like, oh my God, I can't tie my hair back. I just have to have this hair the whole time. I could just do a little pony, just have little ponytail, just have this hair out. It was I was in a full-blown panic mode because I cut my hair to here. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do it any shorter. But now, looking back at it, I was like, I was more afraid of what other people thought about me than I was about what I would think about myself, because I know that I loved it. I loved having short hair. I loved the feeling and everything about it, but I really thought people were going to judge me. So if that's where you're at right now and you're like, okay, can I do this? What are my friends going to think? What is my partner going to think? What is my family going to think? You need to take that out of the equation, because most of the time people are not going to care. Maybe they're going to talk to you about it and be like, oh my God, you shaved your head. Either they're going to be like that, or if they're not, having a positive reaction to it, then they're not your people, just plain and simple. Because I remember when I was really in my phase of deciding, the people around me really encouraged me. I had my mom's I'm gonna love you and support you no matter what you do. I had friends who were like, let's do it, let's just try it. And that really helped me. So I think it's great if you have people who support you in your decision, but you can do it either way, alone or with people. Just know that this is a decision that you make for yourself. This is nobody else's decision. And I know at the time when I decided to shave my head, the moment I did it, I felt so free. I felt so confident. I felt so empowered. And I'm going to show you a picture right now of me with long hair and then me with short hair, with my buzz cut. I really went all in. I decided I'm going to shave it and I'm going to dye it purple, because I was like, if I'm going to do it, I really, I want to give it my all. So I'm not just going to do a buzz cut. I'm also going to do a color. And like I said, for me, the moment I cut my hair, I was like, this is such a beautiful feeling. I feel so sexy. I feel so confident. I feel so in my body. I was just like, oh my God, this is how I'm supposed to feel. That is what I am supposed to feel about myself. Because before, I was really someone who's really in their head, always thinking about what other people were gonna think, really in that doubting, people pleasing phase and stage of their life. And then I remember at 21, I was like, okay, I'm getting out of this because I moved abroad from Germany to Cyprus, and I was away from my, typical environment. And I definitely think that helped as well. But, I was out of my typical, usual environment, the people, the place I usually visited, like nothing was the same. So I was like, okay, I think it's time. It is time for me to renew myself and to make that decision. So I did. And I can just say, I'm going to repeat it again and again. It was the best decision of my life. But I know that there are a lot of doubts that come up and a lot of fears that come up around, what am I going to look like without makeup, or how should I dress, or what are people going to say? Because I remember I was researching. I'm a person who loves to research, to know, look everything up, and watching videos like this to really help me make an informed decision. And at the time, I remember reading in an article where it said, if you shave your head, you might need to change your wardrobe because your clothes are not gonna, fit your style of hair anymore. And I was like, wow, that is bullshit. Such bullshit. What are you talking about? Because they were talking about, if you shave your head, you can't wear feminine clothes anymore, or it might look weird if you wear, tight dresses or short skirts. If you have a really feminine style, it's gonna look weird, and you need to dress more androgynous or more masculine. And I think that's just bullshit. It is truly bullshit. So that's where I really want to give you encouragement and to really share on my experience, what it changed in my femininity, because I know, even if I didn't want to admit it at the time, I really was afraid of not being beautiful, of not being desired, of not being feminine anymore if I shaved my head. And even though, I was really a person who was really into feminism, I learned a lot about feminism and decentering men and patriarchy. I was really that was what I learned about in my free time in high school. But I realized when I came out of school and I really, started to go into adulthood, I realized how much of an impact all of those systems still had on me, even though I was aware of them, even though I learned about them. But, really digging deeper and doing that reflection is another thing. So if you're at that path where you're deciding if you want to do it, I completely understand the feeling of being okay, am I still gonna think I'm beautiful? Am I gonna still feel confident? Am I still gonna like myself? And this is honestly cutting all your hair off is such a journey to yourself, because I remember, like I said, when I cut it, I was really excited. I loved it. I was I'm the sexiest motherfucker alive. You can't tell me anything. I felt so good about myself. I think I've never felt more confident or more beautiful than I did in that moment. And it lasted for, I think, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. And then the doubt started to creep in. And I remember, I thought, oh my God, maybe I'm not that pretty anymore. Or maybe it is weird. Or maybe I should grow it out. And this thought of growing it out came up again and again, because in a way it felt so uncomfortable to bare myself to people, because I know when I cut it, I still lived here. I was living here for already a year in Cyprus. So people still, there were still people who knew me. I made new friends. I met new people, and there were still regular places I visited and went to, and cafes and, supermarkets. So the people here still knew me and saw me regularly. And when I shaved my head, everybody of course made a comment, because it was such a big transformation. But one big thing I noticed, all women were so amazed. They were so excited. When they saw me, they were just smiling, so happy. They were oh my God, it looks so beautiful. This is so amazing. Wow, this transformation. Oh my God, you look so beautiful. And it was amazing. The excitement people, and women especially, had when they saw me was so encouraging. And it was a little group where I was okay, you're really feeling the support of women around you right now. Because one big thing I noticed, how many women would love to get a buzz cut and shave their head, but they are afraid to. I remember I was at the hairdresser and reshaving my head, like getting it cut again, because you need to go to the hairdresser all the time. But there was a woman next to me and she had hair till like, I think her butt or her like hips. It was really, really long. And I was like, oh my God, your hair is beautiful. Like, it looks great, because it was really healthy and it was beautiful. And she looked at me and was like, I love your hair. I would love to get a haircut like yours, but I know that my husband wouldn't approve. And I think that is the biggest problem that comes up when it comes to shaving your head and when it comes to these insecurities. And I can tell you, like, it hasn't made any difference in my life. Like, I know people are still attracted to me. I still get complimented all the time. And there is really no difference for me that I see with men, desiring me. But one thing I noticed with shaving my head is I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care anymore if people find me attractive or not, if they like my style, if they like how I dress, how I talk. It's me who I do this for. So that is something, like, I can only recommend it again and again. And if you are, on that tipping point of deciding if you want to shave your head, I really can only encourage you to do it. But know that doubts and fears may come up, and, you might have that moment of insecurity where you're like, do I really feel good with this, or is this really what I want? And that is completely okay, because at the end of the day, it's a journey and you can still grow it out if you want to. But most of the time, if you do it once, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna keep it. But at the end of the day, just make sure that this decision is about yourself and nobody else. You're not doing this to fit into a beauty standard. You're not doing this to fit into the male gaze, to make anybody else happy. And that is one really big thing that you need to realize when you make this decision. You really need to take beauty standards and the male gaze, male desirability, like all of these things, you need to take them out of the equation. And I know it is in some way easier said than done, but that is really the moment of clarity that you need to have for yourself, where you're like, am I going to do this for myself? Or am I going to follow that design path that people told me will bring me happiness? Because hair is such a sensitive and important topic for us as women. Like, it is for all people, honestly, but especially as women, we're told that long hair makes you desirable, long hair makes you beautiful. And when you challenge those thoughts, when you challenge those standards, it becomes scary because it's unknown. But at the end of the day, I can promise you it is going to be the best decision that you ever make for yourself. And I would love to, if you decide to shave your head, to just leave a comment of your own experience, or if you're someone who has a shaved head or like has shaved their head before, leave your experience down in the comments so maybe we can encourage each other and you can support other women on their journey. And just know that this is supposed to be fun, that this is supposed to be your vessel that you get to decorate and that you get to have fun with. And I think it is one of the best decisions ever. And you can be feminine and have a shaved head. You can be masculine and have a shaved head. You can be androgynous with short hair and a shaved head. Like, it doesn't matter. You get to define yourself. And I think that is one of the biggest statements of what this really means. You can be anything you want. You can be masculine, feminine, androgynous. You cannot be non-binary. You can decide how you want to present, how you want to decorate and present your body. And I think at the end of the day, you really need to remember that this is your journey and nobody else's. So whether you decide to do it, I hope you have the most amazing time. I hope that you can feel the power in yourself and know that you are allowed to make decisions for yourself and that you know what's best for you. And I hope you have the best time, either with a shaved head or don't. I hope you enjoyed this video and just have a beautiful day, and it was so great that you're here. Make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss any new videos, and that's it. So have a blessed and wonderful week.